Well, I was gonna have a nice shot of that bolt being drawn in as I tighten it on the inside, but this battery has gone from 100% to 30.
Please stand by. We are experiencing technical difficulties. As soon as they have been corrected, we shall return to our scheduled program.
All right, that went okay. Now it's time to remove this. Actually, now I'm going to tighten this and then countersink these and get some screws out. It seems to be snug against the ribs, but just to make sure there's no undue movement. There we go. Yeah. This one. Yeah, I think if I go to there, it's a good depth. Now, I'm gonna go pretty much all the way in for a 2-inch screw. Let me dry fit one first. I'd rather not use power, but oh, that'll work. Yeah, that might just work. Some Primacon on there. You can use white lead and all that stuff. I'm not going to use cotton this time. It's apparently not a great idea. It's about as good as that's going to get. Pretty exciting to be finally doing this. Pretty good. I might put. I need to go inside and double check this. It seems like there's a little too much overhang here. It shouldn't be that much thicker than that piece, but maybe I just didn't shape this 100% correctly. You know, let me go in there and take a look. Yeah, this area was not snug against these frames. So I've taken the block off temporarily. It did pop out a little bit. I'm going to try to ease, not so much the caulking bevel, but the edge with the chisel, if I can get it in there enough. I might have to add another rod to draw it in more, but there's a bulkhead. There's a bulkhead in the way. I think it's right here. Well, that kind of worked. The chisel's kind of thick. I think what I want to do is put this one back on and crank the crap out of them, and if I have to, see if there's some way I can get another one in there. Going back, but probably not any more than before. Seems to be hanging up on the bottom, but squeaking. Yeah, kind of really needs one here. Dang it. No, it's a little better. All right. You know, the problem is right about here. Not only is it's not laying on the frames, it's also a little outside of the inside face of this one. It's good at the top. I do have room here. I cut the slats away. I'm going to make a hole for another rod and block setup, and try to suck it in more. I don't want to try to use just the screws to do that. It's just barely off the frames, but I'd rather have it at least touching them. And as much as I don't want to make another 1/4 inch hole, it's better than risking blowing these out or having something bad happen to them. All right, let's see what happens. I don't know. Oh, there's plenty more in this one. Oh, the whole thing's spinning. Dang. I don't think there's going to be any more. And I'm walking a fine line here because I don't want to put too much tension on the board, because then when I get the screws in and release this, it could try to rip the screws out. I think my fitment was not 100%. It's like 99.5. We're definitely in there more. This area here, it's just too thick. I thought I measured what it needed to be top and bottom, but clearly there's way too much material here. I think I'm going to try to... Did I drive those screws yet? No, I didn't. I'm going to try to hog this back first, because I'm probably going to have to change the countersink. It is lined up okay with the other new piece, so I gotta take like 3/8 of an inch off. That seems to have done the trick, or as close as we're going to get. As for hogging this one back, I think I am going to drive the screws first, because I can't just release the blocks and do it, because then I won't know what the real dimension needs to be. I'm not going to plug them first. I want to do the rough fairing before I put plugs in. It'll make it easier to see if I'm getting too close to the screw heads. If I am, then I'll have to stop, back them out, go deeper with the countersink, and then continue. I'll have to reprime them, of course. All right, where was I with this operation anyway? I don't think I got a nut on the other side of this yet. I might have to put 2 rods through these bolt holes with blocks on the outside to really suck this in against the butt block, because it doesn't quite want to do that. Maybe I'll drive these screws. No, I want to get it clamped actually before I send these screws home. Okay. Now I'm going to go inside, put a nut and washer on that 1 carriage bolt I have in there already, and then I guess the plan will be to release these one at a time and get bolts and replace these with the final bolts. It definitely sucked up pretty well. I'm happy. Well, the carriage bolt I have in place is kind of spinning inside. It's kind of freewheeling. Let's see if I can set it a little better. And maybe I'll take one of these off, so when I go back in there, I can put a bolt in. Okay. Take the bottom one. It's tight against the other one inside. It may not want to come out. There it goes. I think it's going to be what it is. Alrighty then. We seem to have a plank. So far, so good with this. I'm going to plane some off it, and might have to make some adjustments to the seams. The caulking bevel is definitely too steep and probably not deep enough, but I'll get a better idea of what's really up with it when I get some more of this off here. All right, I'm gonna go back in the boat for a couple of things. I'm gonna see if I can rig my vacuum cleaner to work with this, because this bag fills in about 20 seconds. I'm also gonna put my coverall back on because it's getting cold.
Hano Hawaiians, Leika Leuwala, Kuahi Vinanila, O Mauna Kea. Hano Hawaiians, Leika.
Well, I might try sanding it by hand a little bit before I take any more off with the planer. This end got a little weird. I think my pattern should have had a little bit more of a hook at the end. I tried forcing this down while I was making my holes for the bolts, but it did not comply. I can make this work though. I've got a pretty big bevel here. I can sort of continue that, and I can sort of fade this one into it as well. It's going to be all about the seam compound. Yeah, this wound up not being dead parallel either, but that'll be fine. Had a little blowout here, but that's okay because I needed to take off that much anyway. I don't know if I'm going to get into a full sanding thing today. I'm pretty wiped out. I've been at it since 6 a.m. and it's like 4 now. But let's just see what the sanding board is going to do. Oh, this is going to be rough. That needs more taken off. Yeah, I'll do that real quick. Could make a pass with the palm sander, but I think I'll wind up making it even more uneven if I do that. You know, I'm thinking now to fix this, instead of trying to do it with a chisel, I might take the blade out of a plane, make it real sharp. It's thinner, should be able to get in there better. Yay. There we have it. So far, there's not a whole lot I can do about that except to just put a lot of seam compound on there or something. I don't want to epoxy anything. And I don't want to make this thinner to meet this. This is just worn, and that's the way it is. A lot of the old seams are worse than what I've produced, but I think overall I've done a pretty good job for a first try. This is a little too flat, but I can live with that. I'll probably make another pass after I do my plugs, but before I start with that, I have to finish getting all the paint I can, all the old anti-foul off this side that I can, and reef out a few more seams. I got some little areas that are gonna need attention. You can sort of see the staining. There's been, when water gets in the bilge, since she's been on the hard, you can see it weeping out of there. So that one, I don't know if it's the garboard seam itself or the next one up or what, but I'm gonna have to examine that a little more closely. A lot of this, I think just throwing some seam compound on there should be okay. These are very tight seams. I don't want to go looking for trouble by reefing cotton out where I don't have to, but there's a lot of other recalking that has to be done. I've reefed out the majority of this already. We're gonna have to start almost from the stem and work our way back. But it's only like 6:30 now. I gotta get a new bunny suit before I start doing that. And the store won't be open for a couple hours. But I think what I'm gonna do is clear the deck here, make room to set up my little torture plank so I can do that today. Oh, it's not bad under here. I just went from stem to stern, picking off the loosest stuff and looking for bad seams. We got a lot of areas that are gonna need new stopping, new seam compound. But everything that's gonna need new cotton I already knew about. I've been counting bungs and marking them. I forgot to mark one back there. Got about half a dozen missing plugs, other than the ones where I know I replaced screws. And yeah, no rot, no big checking. Yeah, it's just gonna need some of these areas, like that'll take up again, I'm pretty confident. As far as this anti-foul goes, I'm gonna do pretty much what I did on the starboard side, which isn't probably isn't best practice by most standards. I noticed, I really don't want to demonstrate, even with this thing, if I'm just trying to pick off the stubborn bits, it starts ripping wood off with it. Not good. I'd rather deal with, at the next haul out, saying, oh gee, some of my new anti-foul flaked off with the old stuff. I'd rather deal with that than take more wood off of this hull. I don't want to take any more wood off this hull. So I'm going to do sand with a 80 grit screen again, just to try to get as much as I can off. Put Primocon on the whole thing like last time, etc., etc.
Kila kila o mawila, lei rosela nila, kuahi vina nila, o halea kala. Kila kila o mawila, lei rosela nila, kuahi vina nila.
Well, that's phase one. Everything else I'm gonna do pretty much by hand. But first I gotta make a bunch of plugs. I'll hand sand that. It's never ending. That's a rough old hull. But to make it 100% would mean crossing a river I am not prepared to cross, if you know what I mean. We'll finish it up and get her back in the water and see how she likes what I've done. Today's vexing little problem is that I just discovered, I fixed it actually. It's I have Forstner bits, but I really like these old paddle bits. It did a great job of drilling the boreholes, but what I didn't notice was that the very tip of this cutting tip was bent outward slightly. So now all my allegedly half-inch holes are a little bit bigger than half an inch, like more like 7/16. So what I'm going to have to do is use the 5/8 cutter. I don't have a 7/16. I don't think they make a 7/16, but so I'm just going to make a bunch of 5/8 ones and sand them down a bit. I can't float these in epoxy. That would be stupid.
Oh, halea kala.
What do you mean you don't want to go in? Sure you do. Wood's actually damp today. That's good. That's very good. Green. Yeah, I need a little extra on that one anyway. I'm gonna have to do the bad thing. If that screw ever has to come out again, let's hope it's not me pulling it out. Yeah, I gotta kind of bet it. What is that, not really half-inch? Yeah, sure it is. I can make it happen. I think I need the rubber mallet for this. This is too big. Oh, that's actually perfect. Well, it's just deforming. I'm using cedar, you know, so it matches, but the cedar's kind of soft. I don't really like this sort of thing. Well, it'll work. I'm gonna trim it off. It'll be fine. 35. That needs a little extra. Just gonna put it in the side of the hole. Should probably do all of them like this. It's less likely to get on the screw. It's on the other side. Oh. Let's have, I think, yeah, I'm thinking an even smaller hammer. Well, this is a revolting development. Brand new, out of the box, 5/8 coring bit, and it's pretty much only good for starting fires. I can't use this thing. I might try to see if I can put the edge back on it or something with a file. I really need a 7/16. Although I do have a couple of old holes that need a proper 5/8 plug. Well, I can't make this work. So I've got about 10 minutes with the sander, the power sander, after cutting it to width on the bandsaw. It's a start. This is just stupid enough that it might work. Well, it's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. I've already been up taking stuff off the boat, starting to think about making sure there's nothing on this vessel when it's launched that doesn't need to be there. I took cabinet doors out and stuff like that. The little wooden trash bin that lives under the sink, it's just been in my way. Okay, it's time to see about these plugs. Well, the excess is still a little chewy. I really don't trust my chisel with the cedar, so I have a new flesh cutting saw. This might be a better way to go. I gotta make another fairing pass with sandpaper on all of this anyway. It's gonna be slow going. I would go with a longer stroke, but I don't want to hit my finished paint there. I should save these. That's one down. Got about 50 or 60 or 90 to go. That I can probably use a chisel on it.
Leika ilimala kuahi pinanila o kala ohu oahula leika ilimala kuahi pinanila o kala.
Booyah! Well, it's still early yet, and it's in the high 60s. Great weather for working on the boat, but I have decided that it's not worth the effort to try to do what I'm doing with the sanding board. I need fresh paper for it too. I have a ton of it at home. I'm not gonna spend more money when I have some at home. And I'm tired. I got up very early this morning and did a lot of other stuff inside the boat. So I'm gonna go home, and when I come back, I'm gonna bring my finish sander, which has a wider pad and it's more gentle. It doesn't oscillate. I'm gonna try to start with that, see how that works out, and bring some fresh paper for the sanding board. Probably sometime next week, have another crack at it. But that'll be it for this episode, which I'm gonna upload tomorrow. It's so weird to be in real time. If you like what you see, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next Sunday. Oh yeah, and don't forget to comment too. It's good for the channel. Doesn't matter what you say. Fire away. I can take it.